Hey guys, so this video is all about selling mattresses online, which seems a little bit a little bit random. It's pretty late now; it's nearly 10 o'clock at night. I had this idea for this video, which is why I'm kind of in my pajamas. I wanted to get it kind of started. But if you can sell a mattress online, which is incredibly hard to do, right? Because most people want to come along to a shop, you want to lie on all of them, you want to try them out, you want to get an understanding of it, do the traditional pushing on it, see how soft it is. It's really hard to get that across on a website. With my hope that if I can show you a couple of websites that are doing it particularly well, maybe there's things for your own e-commerce store that might inspire you that you can take away and add into your own e-commerce stores and hopefully drive up those conversion rates. So let's get going. Now, I think actually selling a mattress on a website is incredibly hard to do. And I think the people like Casper are actually doing a really, really good job. And I kind of want to run you through things that are doing particularly well. So let's start right at the top of the page. I am going to be focusing on individual product pages because this is where a lot of their ads push people. They push people from social directly to these pages with the hope of trying to sell to them and answer enough objections that they might have. So you see right at the top, we do have kind of reviews right at the top. So we've got an understanding of how credible they are, how many people are trusting it. They're referencing their overall prices, and they're also highlighting kind of 20% off. You'll also see from like a color theory point of view that actually we have a lot of white, we have a lot of kind of grays, and we have a lot of this blue. But it does mean that when we see these oranges or we see this green, it does stand out, it does grab our eye. Now, we do have quite a large section dedicated to all the imagery. It's not necessarily a bad thing. The first image I probably think is actually the worst image that they have. It doesn't really do a good job of selling the overall benefits of the mattress to us. And neither does that image. I'm aware it kind of shows it, and at the end of the day, it is a mattress. But some of these images personally do a much better job. They explain the different layers to them. They kind of show the overall firmness. You can flick through this. They're now talking about the overall benefits. So, memory foam can be incredibly hot. So the fact that it's this special, particularly breathable foam is probably a good thing. We all do the traditional push our hand right into the system to see how squidgy, I guess, the mattress is going to be. So we're making a reference to that. We're showing it in situ, and we're also a nice little video, because this is going to be a major concern for some people is, well, how do I get the mattress to my house? How's it going to be done? And obviously showing how easy it is to do, how it all comes rolled out, and then you leave it, and then you can, I guess, have a play fight in the light, which is a little bit weird, but you can at least go through those elements. There's a nice, easy way for you to pick your different sizings over here. And then right below it, they're actually doing a nice job of upselling as we go. So we do have these bundle options that can be done here. We're going to skip over those, and then we do have our add to cart. Now, one thing that I do particularly like, and I'll slightly scroll up here and hopefully you can see it happen, is as I get down to the add to cart, if I start to scroll past the add to cart, this additional add to cart appears at the top of the page with an option for me to change my size. So if as I'm reading, I become inspired and I want to buy that item, I no longer have to scroll back up the page for me to hit that add to cart. And that's really key because people can actually change their mind very, very quickly. So if they like the look of this all the way down the page, they start to scroll up, they may have already changed their mind again by the time they get to the top of the page. So we have to hit them really, really quickly. We have some other options here for these kind of upgrading or want to try in the store, which is quite nice. But you will see from a color theory point of view that we're really highlighting with contrast this add to cart. This is what we want the users to do. And just in case they need to have this option, they do have that as a fallback. Now, what is happening here is we're having parallaxing in place. And parallaxing is where actually two different things are moving at the same speed. So it makes it look like one of them is static, which is this left-hand side one. Now, I would personally say there's an argument that the imagery isn't actually that important. It definitely doesn't need to take up 60% of the screen like it is at the moment. Personally, the mattress imagery could be a little bit smaller and we could have a lot more real estate to really sell this information. This is the bit that's going to really do the job. And they do move to this a little bit further down. You'll see it's parallaxing and we have these sort of benefits here. And again, kind of the free delivery, 100 nights risk-free and 10-year warranty personally needs to stand out a lot more. There's a lot more that we should really be shouting around with that. But you'll see as I get a little bit further down, we stop the parallaxing. And if we get this far down the page, they're now really trying to visually answer any objections or concerns that the user might have before going forwards. So they're talking about the particular cover on it and how it feels. they're talking about and kind of showing the foam rollers and how it moves and how it flexes around it. So they're trying to show it. They've also got these iconography to explain how breathable it is. We then have this memory foam, and we're doing, again, kind of earlier on in the video, the classic push that you might do on it to get a bit of flex to it. And there is some nice comparisons between some of their other options, which I think is quite a nice way of doing it. It's really simple and easy to digest that information, so we can cycle down. Now, if we've got further down the page and we've still not bought, then maybe we need to be convinced via a few more reviews and credibility building. So they're showcasing the big number of reviews that they have. They're very open with all of these. You can even click down and read all the 1-star reviews that they've got if you wanted to. And then you can see this information around the individual product they bought, and then the information around it and the overall stars. So again, really, really useful. They have quite a lot of those. And then finally, you get near the bottom of the page. If there are any other objections or concerns that you're trying to answer, FAQs at the bottom of your product detail pages are a really, really great way of doing this. You can click these open as well. And this is particularly beneficial because it doesn't take up too much visual space. But a really good reason for this is you can also track those clicks to see which ones are really interested in. And if we are finding one in particular is really useful, we might design something really nice and add it in further up the page. So overall, I think Casper does a really nice job. There's definitely a couple of things that we can improve, but overall, great work. Next, we're going to look at Emma, which is another mattress store. Now, personally, I actually think Emma is probably doing a slightly better job than the Casper side, but that might just be my personal preference. So it'd be great to see what you guys think as well. So again, we come onto the page. We do have this lovely imagery. Now, they've obviously won some really nice product awards right near the top of the page. So great way of building credibility really quickly. The opening image that we've got here, especially compared to Casper, I think does a much better job of really showcasing all of the individual layers and elements that are going into the mattress, rather than just a nice shot. Things like this are obviously a little bit more unusual and not as useful, but I think the overall shots that they have near the top of the page do work well. They also have a nice little video that really explains it. Now, you do have these options here with these mattresses, and you have this standard cover or cooling cover even. I would say near the top of the page, I don't think it does a particularly good job of really explaining the differences in those, but they do reference that further down. So I'm kind of willing to let them off a little bit. I haven't seen this on many sites, and this is one thing I do want to highlight. If you do have a high traffic website, referencing the last 24 hours number of people that have viewed this product is a really great way to build credibility. It just makes you think it's trustworthy if so many people have seen it. So I've never really seen that before on another site. Wanted to highlight out. The information at the top of the page is really digestible. There's no large blocks of content. Even just a little tick marks to separate this out is a nice way of doing it. And then we'll reference the difference in sizes as well. We've obviously got a couple of additional items here, like upselling and options, and then we do have our overall price, and we are referencing it's cheaper than similar market products which cost this amount of money. So we are really highlighting that out to the user. Now, orange is actually one of those colors that can be really seen as a value color. You have to be quite careful with how it's used, and I think they're doing a fairly good job of using it sparingly, which doesn't make everything feel too cheap. We do have this nice add to cart, and as I mentioned earlier on in the video, because we have this high contrast really drawing our attention to the add to the cart or the add the options or the get the 5% off, we're really focused on drawing attention to that. So this is a really good way of doing it, making it crystal clear we want the user to run. They've got 200 nights, 10-year guarantee. So again, very similar to what we've already seen already. And they do have the option to learn more. But interestingly, the things that they're less bothered about you interacting with, they obviously don't make stand out as much. There's not as much contrast there. So try to take that into account with the things that you're designing for your e-commerce store as well. Now, they do reference some other sections that we can click open to learn around firmness and materials. And we've also got the same sort of parallaxing system going on with Casper. I find it really interesting, actually, because, again, the imagery is taking up 60% of the screen estate. I just feel like that could be a lot smaller and we'd have more room to allow this to breathe and really draw attention to some of the other major benefits. They do a similar system as well where you get a part way down the page, the parallaxing stops, and we get into this section instead that does a lot more visual and really answers some of those items. It's interesting that they really seem to talk about these cover differences as if it's particularly important. For me, I guess it isn't, and I don't think it's too relevant, but they seem to want to highlight that quite often, so that's up to them. They also reference this sleep advisors. Now, again, I guess if you're in the space and you're looking at mattresses, they know that these people are probably going to be found on YouTube or through their blog. So maybe this is really beneficial. But again, it feels like we're building credibility for something that I've never really heard of. But that, again, is more just me at the moment. Some of the stuff slightly further down the page feels more relevant. And I might be tempted to play around with some of the hierarchy. At the same time, Emma's doing very well, so I'm sure they've already tested for all. I think these sort of items are quite nice with this sustainability on there, the 54%. I'm not necessarily sure that video on the left-hand side is relevant in any way to this information that's over here. So this feels like a missed opportunity that maybe we could have something more related to the CO2 information instead. But I do kind of like, I know this sounds really silly, that this image is fairly silly with all these balloons around it, but it's a visual representation of how comfortable the bed is. I kind of like that idea. I think that actually works really nicely. It's a little bit of fun, adds personality. So those are things to take advantage of. And then comfort, embracing the body. Again, we're kind of showing how the spine is nicely aligned with our pillow that is on there. I always think this is weird when you see it on mattress websites where there's never a sheet. I don't think I've ever laid on a bed without a sheet, without having a fitted sheet on it, but each to their own. And then at least they are breaking down all of these individual elements that go into the mattress to make it so special, make it so comfortable. So again, I think they do this really, really nicely. And then we are building reviews. There's loads of additional information here. This page is a lot longer than the Casper page overall. They've got a very different way of representing some of the imagery. And I would say that their review section is nowhere near as good as Casper's. We're only really seeing 5 stars. We can't break them down. We can't break them down by individual items. And one element that would be really cool to see is if they're, am I a back sleeper? Do I sleep on my side? Do I sleep on my own? Do I sleep with my wife or partner? It'd be great for you to be able to see those in those reviews in a really easy way to be like, well, I sleep on my back or I sleep on my side. So I only want to read reviews of people who have used this mattress who also sleep on their side. So really personalizing those options would be really, really beneficial as well. We do have this sort of information around this sleep expert. I don't really know why this person is a sleep expert. This feels kind of a wasted opportunity here. But I do think this one in particular is a really useful concern that users might have, which is when it comes to me, how easy is it to unpack? Is it going to be absolutely huge? If I live in a flat, am I going to be able to get up the stairs? These are major concerns, and I'm surprised this is so far down the page. They've obviously got some credibility building through kind of influencers as well, which is quite nice. And then they've got some general upsells. So overall, I think they do a really, really nice job too. So that is my late night video all around mattress shopping. So you can tell that I've been looking at new mattresses. But hopefully you can start to see here that if we can sell a mattress online, which is really something tangible that you would normally want to test before you buy, we can pretty much sell anything online. So we need to really consider all of the main benefits that someone would have with having your product, but also what are any of their objections? What are their overall concerns? And let's try and answer those in a really visual fashion. Now, if you are a website that is only selling a small number of products, like just mattresses, for example, or just a couple of things, we can have way more tailored product detail pages, which is a great way to really increase your e-commerce conversion rate. If you're selling thousands of different styles of products like Amazon, then we don't have as much range to change those pages. I completely understand that. But overall, I hope this really inspires you, gives you some ideas. Maybe you'll get a new mattress off the back of it. And if you want to see any more of my videos, you can kind of click above just here. Thanks all. Bye.